Good evening. Okay, so everything's up and running. So there's people there. So hello, Oliver, Donde, Darren, Oliver. Hello, and Julian's online as well. Cool. So as as promised, we're going to do a Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, please post them up. As we did before, there's a 30-second delay on the questions, so put them up and I'll answer them in a minute, or 30 seconds when I see them. A few little things before we go on. So I sent out an email to all the subscribers. So anybody who's on the No Tanks mailing list should get an email in the next 10 or 20 minutes. We have some interesting things on the email about getting back in the water, and some what if you want one-to-one online sessions, we can always organise them. And I'm hoping to run the first No Tanks club session again next week. It's going to be socially distanced, dry session in Richmond Park. So it should be interesting, should be fun, and it should be a nice evening as well. So nice weather. So if you want to come along, that'll be fantastic. Oh, hang on. Oh, that's not good. Oh, coughing. Maybe it's all going to be cancelled. Okay. So that's on the 3rd of June. So that's next Wednesday. Well, that's the plan anyway. We'll see. See if we can make that happen. Okay. So a few of online. Let's see if we've got any questions. Oh yeah, so Donde says, why is it that I can hold my breath for more than 2 minutes dry without contractions, but when in the water I get them when I do a 30-second static? Oh my gosh. Okay, so that's bang straight in there. Okay, so it's a complex question. It's going to be very specific to you. So there's a lot of neurological programming goes on, and I suspect it's going to be down to that. Now it could be different, but for you, but it's probably going to be some sort of programming that you've got. Because if the only thing that is changing is you being in the water or you being dry, then that is literally the only thing that's changing. So that's the only thing that can be. It's the only variable. You may also find that laying on your front, if you're doing a static, is a part of the thing that's triggering the contractions after 30 seconds. But it's probably the expectations. So whereas you can sit on the sofa and you know there's nobody else around, you've got your countdown timer set to whatever, 2 minutes, and you just go for it. There's no pressure, there's no expectations to do anything. When you're at home, you're probably just kind of go, oh, I'll just give it a go. Or you've sat down and done a breathe up and I'll just give it a go. But when you're in the pool, you've already got a buddy. You've already got a 2-minute countdown. You've already got some other things. So there's an expectation there. So what I would suggest you do is, and obviously it's going to be tough until we can get more pool time, is build up your static breath holds in the same way that you would do dry, the lazy tables. So if you, I don't know where you live, Donde, but if you can get to the Putney sessions in London, they're a perfect opportunity where you can book a one-to-one session with Julian or Marco or myself, and you just will say, look, I want to practice static. This is the issue, and you go fine. And you won't do the whole hour, or even a whole half hour, which is how long the one-to-one lessons are. But you'll just do a series of holds. So into your first contraction, 30 seconds, and then come up, have a chat, another 30 seconds, chat, come up, another 30 seconds, and very quickly you'll be doing 30 seconds without contractions at all, because all you're saying is there's no pressure here. You're only going to do 35 seconds. There's no pressure. Let's go. And you can teach your subconscious that that's what you want. So you can easily move it up to doing what you're doing on dry land. Okay. You may find, I say, the position changes it slightly, but the only thing that is changing is you being in the pool, you being in water. Okay, so Kiri asks, for the modern day hectic, maybe you mean hectic, lifestyle, what can be done to help soften or relax the mind for someone that doesn't come naturally to? Meditation, yoga, freediving. I mean, like, freediving is literally why the number one thing, because the whole point is to take some time out to pause in your breath and in your life while you do something, whether it's playing a game or whether it's a dive or whether it's a photograph or whatever it is. So yeah, free dive. And obviously if you can't get in the water and dive, then any of the dry exercises that we do will help. And you can set time aside to do it. It's very, very, very much the same ethos as mindfulness. It doesn't really matter what you do, as long as you set time to do it. And when we say set time, it comes back to that honesty thing and telling your buddy and or rubber ducking. Just saying it out loud really, really help you actually do it. So even if you live on your own, write it down, put it on the fridge. Write down Tuesday nights, I'm going to do this exercise. Write it down, stick it on the fridge. Okay? Because that kind of puts it out in the universe. Telling somebody, even if you're just ringing up one of your buddies and say, I'm trying the lazy tables, I'm trying to cycle a 4. They don't mind whether you try to cycle a 4 or not. They don't mind at all. But you saying it kind of sets it as concrete. And that's much more likely to happen than when you sit down in the evening to actually do the exercise. And then once you've allowed that space in your life to do whatever exercise it is, whether it's a walk or a breath hold, it doesn't matter. Once you've kind of allowed that space to exist, then doing it is a lot easier, and that's how you can soften and relax the mind. I would suggest visualizations. The visual walks for hectic people, very good visual walks, because it kind of starts ordering your thoughts on something very specific. So visualization walks followed by maybe a lazy table or two lazy holds. Make sure you allow plenty of time for it. So don't allow 20 minutes because you couldn't feel rushed at the end. Oh no, look at the time, I'm running. So allow 40 minutes, even if it only takes 20 minutes. Allow 40 minutes. That's how long I allow to do it. Okay? 40 minutes. And then do something for half an hour. Again, try and just avoid all those things that make you quick. Yeah, and then just do some exercises. So I hope that helps. This is the same thing you find with all sports. If you're into cycling, people say, I'll go for a cycle, it just clears my mind. Yeah, because you can't write an email because you're out on your bike, 10 miles away from home, or going out for a run. You can't just, leave your phone at home, go for a run, go for a cycle, go for a dive, whatever it is. Hope that answers your question, Kiri. Right, so is it possible to overtrain, and how can I avoid this? Julian. Okay, yes, it is really possible to overtrain. how to avoid it. Okay, so it is unlikely that we're going to overtrain in. Having said that, I was going to say in the current situation, but it kind of goes against it. With our ethos of no tanks, the soft approach, the acceptance of the dives and the breath holds we're doing, it's quite hard to overtrain. But what the signals are, what are signs? I mean, there's the physiological signs which you can, people say or when they, online they put out things. They they say their training doesn't get any better, they can't sleep, or they get tired, or kind of eating, all the physiological things, which is fairly intense overtraining. But I would suggest that overtraining comes in when you can't turn off from the training, or you find yourself put under undue pressure. Oh man, I've got to do my table. Yeah, but we're having a Zoom party. Yeah, but I've got to do my training. Now that's a fine line, because you do have to do your training, and you might be able to do the Zoom meeting after it or whatever. But if it's causing you stress, anxiety about not doing your training, then you're overtraining. Okay? Because training should be enjoyable. Training should be something you look forward to. If it becomes a chore, then you've gone over into that kind of area. But I mean, physically you can overtrain if you do stress breath holds more than once a day. And really, you should be doing stress breath holds every other day, because the blood gets tired. It's the same as if you go for a run every day, you very quickly stop progressing. Your body hasn't got time to rejuvenate. So you run every other day, cycle every other day, hold your breath every other day. And yes, you can hold your breath every day. You can hold your breath twice a day, every day. But after 5 days of it, your body just says no, enough. You're not giving enough chance to recuperate. So hopefully that answers your question, Julian. Yes, it is possible to overtrain. How to avoid it? Look out for the signs, and in fact, talk about it as well. You tend to find that people, when they overtrain, kind of not get embarrassed, but they don't want to talk about it. But they know subconsciously that they're doing too much, too often. So how do you avoid it? Talk to somebody. Have a chat with somebody. Have a chat with Julian. Oh, it is Julian. I'm guessing somebody's asked you, Julian. Or are you just going to be static master when you come back? Who knows? Okay, so hopefully that answers questions. Okay, so next go down. Darren, if you continue to be relaxed and keep equalising, what stops you getting too deep to get back from? Okay, so that's actually a really good question. Let's start by saying it's unlikely that is going to happen. Okay, but in theory, it could happen, that you're just equalisation's happening. Bum, 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 bum. Because we're training about awareness. If you've been doing a certain depth of dives, and somebody like me on the boat says, "Oh, if you can equalise, keep going," which I do say in very specific cases, not to everybody. But if somebody does say, "Oh, you can equalise, carry on," your body will tell you that you're going deeper than you have before. If you're truly listening and aware of your body, you will stop 2-3 meters deeper than your deepest dive or the dive you did before. Guaranteed. But it's all about awareness, and it's easy to push through that. But if you're aware and you know you've got time and you're not putting undue pressure on yourself, and I've had this. I was out in Dahab, like 2006, and I've taken a group out there. I've been going out to Dahab since year 2000, 1999, I think I went out there. Well, yeah, I discovered freediving out there on a scuba trip in Dahab. But anyway, so I was out there in maybe 2006, and I just dropped this line to whatever depth it was, and I put a novice on it, and I said, yeah, just do a dive, and the instructor who was kind of setting up the ropes, and we'd hide the kit off. They said, aren't you worried I go too deep? I said, no. This diver, I know this person, and this person is aware. And he was like, what do you mean he's aware? He could go to the bottom and it would be all, whatever. And I was like, no, it'd be fine. Came back, 2 meters deeper than what he'd done before. We had a good discussion about what they were doing, what they needed to do more. And we're not talking like 10 meters, we're talking 20s and 30s. So they were out of sight, but, feeling the rope. And I said, yeah, okay, quick chat, go again. But now you've told him how to correct his thing. He's going to go to the bottom. He's going to go, oh. I went, no, because this person, I know them, they're aware. Went down, and I was feeling the rope. So they're going to turn now. They turned, they came back. Yeah. Something, your body knows how deep you are. And if you're aware, you will turn, because there's no need to go crashing on. And quite often you'll do a dive and you'll make it fine. And I, as an instructor, will say, I think you should do it again because your duck dive wasn't right. Nothing to do with the deep part, but the whole dive wasn't beautiful. And if the whole dive isn't beautiful, then there's no point in going any deeper. Okay? So whether it's 5 meters, 10 meters, or 70 meters, you've got to make the whole dive beautiful, else there's no point in going on. And so you do it again and you do it again. And without a computer, you'll know, your body will tell you, especially when you go past anything past 9 meters, your body will tell you where it is. So it's unlikely that that's going to happen. Okay. And to actually answer the question, what stops you going too deep? It's the pressure. It's the amount of time you've been swimming. It's your awareness. Actually, you're underwater and under more water than you were before. And of course, if you come back and you're out of breath, that's a sign that you got. That's an unbeautiful thing. So you're going to do the dive again, or work on your fitness, or have a break because maybe you've been diving for hours, whatever. You're out of breath. At that depth. There's no point in diving because you're out of breath at that depth. You're just going to be more out of breath at the next depth. Okay? You want to come up, boom. That was super easy. A good dive is one where you could have gone longer. Yeah. So, hopefully that answers your question, Darren. Okay, so Kiri again. If people could leave with one message about no tanks, what would you like that message to be? Oh, genius. So that's a question to a kind of a question. One message. Enjoyment. That's it. And yeah, that's kind of it. And I've said before that if you're not safe, then you can't enjoy it. So safety is paramount. Safety is a fundamental thing you need to enjoy it. Okay, actually to feel relaxed, and then relaxation leads to enjoyment. But if you're aiming for that enjoyment, if you're feeling this is a bit unsafe, then you're not going to be enjoying it. So you can move away from it. If you do a good dive where you come up and everything was beautiful, you're enjoying it. Okay. So, enjoyment. Safety is in there, relaxation's in there, awareness is in there, of course, because, again, you don't want to kind of do a dive or do a session or go somewhere, come back and go, how was it? It's all right, I can't really remember what's going on. No, you want to enjoy it, you want to be there, you want to be aware of what's happening, so that somebody says, what was that dive like? You can go, wow, the first bit was this, the second bit was that, really make the most of it, and that comes back to enjoyment. Okay. And of course that's where you're going to be progressing, because if you're honest with yourself, if you're honest with yourself, you're going to come up with things that weren't beautiful. I'm not going to say perfect, because it's, perfect is unattainable, so it's pointless to kind of have that as a realistic tick box. But if it was beautiful, or that actually wasn't beautiful, so I'm going to do that again. It comes from the awareness, comes from the enjoyment, or leads to the enjoyment. Excellent. Oh, Darren, it was you, wasn't it? It was you. I think it was you. Okay. So any other questions? Okay. So sorry, Diane's just I missed it. It's there in front of me. But okay. When it comes to monofin technique, what's the difference between depth and pull arm position, and why? Okay. So monofin. Technically, you cannot monofin with your arms beside you. Can't do it. Okay, and this is because. Okay, so the pivot point is here. Let's move. Okay, the pivot point is here. Okay? So there's only literally this much of your body above the pivot point. Below the pivot point, you've got your belly, your hips, your legs, and your monofin. Okay, so you've got nothing to push against. Just this X section here. Okay, so you're trying to stick your chest out, but there's nothing to push against. Or you're trying to do your chest the other way. What's to stop your head going forwards? Okay, so to do monofin, you have to have your hands above you to create some sort of pressure that you can work the rest of the body against. Okay, which is the French style, is with the arms out without that pressure, and they snake through the water. Okay, because there's no resistance, which is fine. Okay, but that's not monofin we're aiming for. So the difference in arm position, there isn't a position an arm position change. In stereo finning, slightly different, because you're working against the other foot. So in stereo finning, you can have your hands down, you can have your hands up. Okay? Slightly more hydrodynamic with them up. It's slightly easier to keep a good position in the head with the hands up. But, and it's a big but. Okay. Two buts. There's two buts. Buts and buts. Okay, so the other thing is, when you're doing dynamic, okay, you are finning all the time. You can't not fin, because if you stop finning, you stop. Okay, so you have to keep finning. So you tend to keep your hands up. Okay, when you're doing depth, you get to a point where you sink, so you don't need to fin. So you can break position. Okay, so that's why you see some monofinning people doing depth monofin with their hands beside them, because they're not actually monofinning. They'll start monofinning with their hands up, and then break position, so hands come down by the side, because they're not really monofinning. Okay. So there's that kind of but. So you'll see the two there. And the other thing is, it's quite tough to keep your hands up. Okay. So even in stereo finning, okay, we train with our hands up. Okay, we train because that's hard work. Oh, man, I haven't been in the pool for ages. It's actually quite hard work. Okay, so it's quite hard work. So you train the hard way, so that when we go in the sea, we can put our hands down and it's easier. But if we train with our hands down, one day we might need to put our hands up. One day we might need to come back a little bit quicker or something. We might need to be a bit more hydrodynamic. And we don't want to only be able to do this and then go, okay, I'm going to go a bit quicker. Oh, I can't put my hands up. So we practice like this. So, well, you can dive either way. We can dive our hands down or down, hands up. So that's the second but. Okay, so hopefully, Diane, that answers that. Okay, thanks, Mark. Okay, so, Donde, what's more important, adaptation or awareness? Well, awareness is obviously more important, because you can't have adaptation without awareness. Okay, so you have to have awareness, which then leads to acknowledgement, which then leads to adaptation. So adaptation is insanely important because that's what we're looking for. We're looking to change ourselves. We're trying to physiologically, mentally change ourselves, change our attitudes, whether it's to the world or whether it's to, for free diving, for pressure, or etc. So adaptation is the kind of where we're aiming for, but you can't have it without awareness. So clearly, awareness is more important. You can as you're learning, you're gonna kind of learn, and you aim for the awareness, and adaptation will come. Right? And the other thing is, you can't force adaptation. That's something your body does, but you can learn and practice and improve your awareness. So that's what you're looking for. The adaptation, well, you don't lay at bed at night and go, okay, hemoglobin, I want some more hemoglobin. Come on, body, produce some hemoglobin. You can't do it. But you can work on meditation, work on visualization, so your awareness gets better. That's why it's more important. Yuki, okay, so we're right. Well, oh wow, we're at 8:00. So I'll ask the next couple of questions, and then we'll call it a day. So I've just seen the last question. Okay, so Yuki, what's the difference between training lazily and allowing yourself to train easy today? It's a very good question. So it all comes back to that honesty, ego, and awareness. Now, in your heart of hearts, when you've done a session, you know whether you've challenged yourself or not. And that's not to say you have to challenge yourself every time. If you've come home from work, in fact, no, that's not true. I'm just about to, kind of prove myself wrong. But you come home from work, you've had a really hard day from work, and you don't want to do an exercise. You just want to watch telly and eat crisps, and you go, oh man, okay, well I'll just do a lazy hold. Well, actually, the challenge was doing the session. So you did challenge yourself. So actually, you always challenge yourself. But it depends how you challenge yourself. And a lazy hold might just be one hold, super chilled, or even not super chilled, just like kind of in the time that you've got that it takes for the microwave to go off. I don't know. But it's the challenge of how can I fit an exercise in is the challenge. And you challenge yourself and you did it. Yeah. You might not fit it in which case, you failed, and you go, right, well, next time I'm gonna do it. Okay? So it's all about honesty. Did you challenge yourself? What did you do that you may or may not have, made that you could have failed? And that's where the honesty, that's where the ego comes. Well, I did a hold the other day. It was super short, but I was super happy I did it because it was I wasn't feeling good. I was stretching and I was tight. No, but you said you were going to do a hold, Marcus. So I did a hold, and I was like, yeah, I did a hold, just one hold, and that was my challenge. So training lazily, that's kind of open to interpretation. Training soft, again, open to interpretation. So train easy today is literally, I'd see that word as, okay, so I've been working hard, been doing all these exercises, and going to have a day off today. In fact, no, I'm not going to have a day off. I'm going to just stick a wee cheeky visualization in there, because I haven't got it in me to do another stress press hold because I did one yesterday. What can I do? Bit of meditation. And the difference is that you're not just doing meditation, you're doing meditation as a training. And in fact, I've had this conversation with quite a few people when they step up. So they've been training, they've been doing their exercises, and they kind of moved up, maybe got to their blue, and they say, well, I want to step up. And I have a one-on-one lesson with them, and I say, okay, you've stepped up. What do you mean I've stepped up? I haven't got any more time in my life, I can't go to any more pool sessions. I say, yeah, but you've stepped up. Because you've asked for a one-to-one session. You've booked a one-to-one session with me about stepping up. That's it. You've stepped up. You're aware of what it is. So then their attitude changes, and instead of just doing yoga, they're doing yoga for freediving, and there's a subtle change in it. But it's a subtle change with those with the challenges that they're facing themselves with. Anyway, so there's 2 more questions. Well, I'll see if I can get to Alicia's. So, Mocha Man, number 1, Marcus, do you feel knackered without BJJ? Kind of yes and kind of no. I'm keeping myself super busy. Anybody who knows my stealth project at the moment knows I'm keeping myself really busy. So I'm not kind of knackered. But when I get back on the mats, I am going to be absolutely knackered. But I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so and BJJ might be happening. I'm classing myself as an elite athlete because I was going to a very high level competition earlier in the year, if you didn't know, and that makes me an elite athlete. Therefore, I can train jiu-jitsu. So, Alicia, if we do stress breath holds every other day so the blood rests, what does this mean? What does the actual process go through? Weirdly enough, literally what I just said a minute ago, the hemoglobin. So the body is creating hemoglobin and destroying hemoglobin, breaking it down, constituting it, and hemoglobin levels go up and down. So, for instance, very much like if you do higher altitude training, if you're going to climb Everest, you can't just climb Everest, you die. So you go up a little bit, stress the body, stress the blood, come back down again. Body goes, right, I've got to do some stuff, creates more hemoglobin. You go up, spend a night at that height, come down. Body goes, right, okay, you're serious. I need a bit more. Up a bit higher and down. And this is stressing the blood. Exactly the same as what we do when we hold our breath. We are asking the body, the physiological things in our body, to do things that they find challenging, and then we rest, and the body rests, both neurologically, physiologically, and that's how the blood works as well. I was talking to Chaz about this just a couple of weeks ago. He's our strength and conditioning coach, and he said that just learning new movements, your body will become more coordinated, and you have more control over your body. So you go to strength and conditioning, he gets you to do an exercise you've never done before, a bit weird, or something, a change on something you've already done before. The actual process of trying to do a new movement is training in itself, for whatever sport it is. And he says, the more you do these sort of exercises, the easier you'll be at doing, whatever sport you want to take up. So doing whatever sport it is, okay, that's my aim. I'm going to do that sport. Doing strength and conditioning with weird new movements that you've never done before will help you with this, because your body's coordination gets better. So for some reason, Kiri is sending a laughing emoji. I have no idea why. It's gone past 8 o'clock. So I'll say again, next Wednesday, so that's the 3rd of June, we have the first No Tanks club session. That'll be held at 7:30 in Richmond Park, and it's going to be a social distanced, dry group session. So No Tanks, freediving club, haven't got any pools.
Because of the elite athlete.
Oh, Kiri's laughing at the elite athlete bit. So yeah, time back a bit. So the 3rd of June is the first No Tanks freediving club. We haven't got pools. Don't care. We are training anyway, and it'll be social distanced, and it'll be fun. So please, let me know if you're coming along, so we can work out what we need to set up. It'll be in Richmond Park. It will be by the Kingston Gate, Richmond Park, 7:30. You can't park in the park, by the way, but come along. Can't cycle through the park either. But social distance session. Stay posted. I want to make it happen. So I was chatting with Arno. Arno came up with this crazy concept, and crazy concepts are what we thrive on. So that's our challenge. We're going to do a group socially distanced club session. And FreeFest is looking promising. Obviously, until the rules change, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. But your July down in Cornwall, again, message us and we'll let you know what's happening. So hopefully see you tomorrow night. I'm going to do a recap on the highlights of the live streams on Thursday. Tomorrow we're doing something else, so I will see you then. 7:30 UK time. For those of you who may be slightly 1 hour out. See you tomorrow night. Thank you very much. Any questions, message me. You should have got an email in the last 10 minutes or in the next 10 minutes. You should have got an email from MailChimp. Please check your spam folders. Please get back to us on the points that I put in the email. Thank you very much. Good night.